everybody. Welcome to the Buying Time Blueprint. My name is Dr. Chike Akua. I'm an award-winning author, educator, scholar, and speaker.
And my name is Anthony Boyce. I'm a business automation consultant, author, and I've built a multi-million-dollar business.
And we're here to talk about the 52 questions that most entrepreneurs and small business owners ask. But Anthony, we're just this is like our third episode of this podcast in, and we're already starting to get some phenomenal results and responses from the people. So we kind of wanted to take a break for just a moment from answering those questions to respond to, what people are saying. So I know you're the one, you're the analytics guy, and you've been checking the numbers and everything. What are people saying?
So I appreciate that, Chike. I think what people are saying and what we're realizing is that one, we're we're actually eating our own cooking. So this is our process of building while flying. And the first thing that we talked about was the fast fix solution, where you record long form content like this and then you put out small clips. And what we're seeing is, especially on TikTok, is we're seeing 200 plus views, 600 plus views in a couple of days. And so what we're seeing is that, you know being ourselves, telling the truth, sharing what we value with a community or people out there that are valuing it, we're starting to see some traction. And so the thought process behind that was, why don't we do more? Why don't we, in the last episode we were very transparent. Why don't we continue that process and share our blueprint and those principles that are working for us as we move forward, and we can still answer those questions.
Yeah, man, there's no reason to reinvent the wheel. We've been through all the ups and downs. So I'm eager to share. I know you're eager to share what you know as well. But I think there's something else that's also resonating with people. I
Mm,
found out, I kind of came to this conclusion a few years ago that in our community, you have people who have consciousness, and then
mm,
you have people who have capital.
mm,
Consciousness is the social and cultural mentality, and the capital is the money, right?
mm,
And what I
mm,
found out is that these two groups tend to talk about each other, right? People with the consciousness say, hey, you guys with the money, you guys with the capital, you should be doing this with your money. You should be building businesses and supporting the people and donating to black causes and different things like
mm,
that. And the
mm,
people with the capital, they're like, hey, you guys need to get a job, you need to save your money, invest your money. America's the best place in the world. And the two groups tend to go back and forth and butt
mm,
heads.
mm,
And what I realized is that rather than just having consciousness or rather than just having capital, I wanted to be that brother that understood how to raise capital and consciousness.
wow.
That
Mm,
way, when you get a good idea, a great idea, or a God idea, then you can run with it and bring it to reality.
mm,
But what I've noticed over time is that there are a lot of brothers and sisters out there who are starting to find out that you can raise capital and consciousness. You can make a deep impact and deep income, right? You can do
mm,
good and you can do well at the same time.
mm.
And one of the things I love about your skill set is you are like you're the bridge between capital and consciousness because
Thank you.
you understand how to set up systems. And that's why, man, we need more brothers like you, but here you are, providing this information for us here.
Yeah, well, I appreciate. I think you and I, part of the reason we collaborate so well is not only do we share similar values, we leverage each other's gifts,
Right.
and we know your gift makes room for you. So I
Mm.
think there's when you and I appreciate you being so kind in stating that, is that excuse me, all processes or systems are, they're just a consistent, repeatable process. It's just like a workout plan. I know what my objective is. I know what my limitations are currently, what areas I need to grow in. And
Hmm.
so I set up a plan to get there.
Yeah.
And I think while a lot of us are familiar with, you know, going through college because there's a plan and a program that's available to everyone, and going to grade school because there's a plan and a program that's available to everyone, and the process for getting a job. Unfortunately, what we see is there's no uniform or very general or accessible plan for most people when they say, hey, I have these, as an adult or a grown up or responsible individual, I have this idea or this vision or this goal, and I think it can bless people and help people.
Mm,
What's the process or the mechanism for getting it out there?
right. And that's my thing, man. I was never interested in getting into business. I just had a message that I was trying to get out to people.
Mm,
I was trying to help people, but out of necessity, I had to get into business and I
absolutely.
had to learn different things. And then also, I learned over time. I'm sure you're probably familiar with Robert Kiyosaki's book,
Absolutely.
Rich Dad,
Rich Dad, Poor
Poor
Dad.
Dad, and Cash Flow Quadrant, and so forth.
Mhm.
And I kind of live that aspect of, he tells a story about a man, about two different men um, who have a problem in their village. They need water in their village.
Mm,
And one guy builds a business hauling buckets from the river. And he's hauling buckets every day to get water to the village. Another guy goes out, he creates a board and establishes, a corporation, and they build a pipeline.
mm,
And the guy who's hauling buckets every day, he's working around the clock. He's got his sons helping him and telling him, man, hey, son, one day you'll be able to inherit this. But they're looking at their dad like, why would I want to be hauling buckets 12 to 15 hours a day, right? But the guy
yeah.
who's got the pipeline obviously soon wins out. And I learned
Mhm.
this, brother, firsthand from selling books. In my speakers boot camp, I ask people, if you got a sale for 100, 500 books right now, do you have the infrastructure in place to package and deliver those books, right? But now, one of the reasons I'm so excited to work with you, brother, is because you have a system in place that can bypass all of that. Because
Mhm.
I used to be driving my truck around, picking up boxes of books, taking them to UPS, taking them to the post office, sending my sons to do the same things, right? And it was like, there's got to be a better way, and we've got it. It doesn't even require printing now.
Mhm.
People out there who have a good idea, who have a great idea, who have a God idea, we now have systems in place that allow you to get that message to the people in a powerful way, and then for you to get paid to do that. And
Mhm.
this to me is absolutely revolutionary, brother.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Chike. I think largely a lot of this came out of personal experience.
Yeah.
I've been having the capacity and the awareness to um, and the trial and error, going through that practical experience to identify the principles. So not just Dr. Myron Golden, he has a beautiful analogy, not just a truth, but the truth.
Mm,
So a truth is contextual. I was 15, I am 46, but I have always been Anthony. So the truth that it was true that I was 15. It is true that I'm 46, but it is an absolute truth, a principle that I am Anthony. And even after I'm gone from this earth, there will be a book written by Anthony Boyce. There will be accomplishments that will say Anthony existed. That's an absolute principle.
hmm
And so the challenge is, as we navigate this life or this idea, part of what's so daunting behind it, I've experienced and you've experienced, is what's the one right way? We know, regardless of what high school you go to, you're going to go through, you know, ninth grade, 10th grade, 11th grade, 12th grade. There's some unifying principle there.
mm,
Regardless of where you get your doctorate or your PhD, you'll have to write your dissertation. There are certain elements. If you want your MBA, there's a standardization process. And I think after having been, spent my career in corporate healthcare and then coming out into sales and then setting up, co founding my first company and then consulting and all these elements, ever since the age of 2021, I've been engaging these processes and startups and different things. And there are some unifying principles, some absolute truths. You know, three parts of business since the beginning of time: you have a product or service, you get attention to your product or service, and
hmm
then you sell it for more than it costs. That's never going to change. But how do you translate that into a modern business setting where there are so many elements? You can, do you want to do MLM? Do you want to go B2B? Do you want business to business? Do you want to go B2C, business to customer? Do you want to sell online? Do you have to do paid ads? I think for most, in my experience, consulting, previously and now large and small companies, solopreneurs, etc., the unifying principle, the one underlying element that most people have a problem with is how do I start?
Hmm.
Where do I start? And what will work for me?
Right.
And how do I make a good bet? How do I invest the resources that I have now responsibly for the greatest possible return? And
Mm-hmm.
I think, as someone who has experienced abundance and who's experienced subsistence, just getting by and surviving, I think it's identifying what level you're on and what actions to take to get you to the next level that are most critical up front. And then you make your plan from there.
Absolutely. And a lot of the people that have been able to do this and have been successful at it, they're out there doing it. We're out here
Absolutely.
doing it as well, but we're willing to teach it because we have a heart to help people. And brother, I got to tell you, I feel like I know all the people who could solve the problems of the world. Literally, I know some really amazing people, but they don't have this systems thing in place. And I didn't have this system thing in place. I'm getting it in place with you now. And we warned the people. We told them last year, at the end of last year, we said, look, this is what we're doing, rolling out in this year. And now, look, we're already doing it. We're already getting a response from it. And a big thing is taking action
Yeah.
because action creates attraction. There are
Hmm.
people who have been sitting around on great ideas for months, for years, and even decades. And I'll give you
Mm.
a quick example, bro. I had a close friend of mine, an elder brother and confidant, and I had known him for over a decade, maybe two at that time. And back when I had first met him, he had talked about wanting to do a book and different things of that nature. And we had fell out of contact, not because anything was wrong.
Hmm.
We just both gotten busy and hadn't talked in a few years. And we caught up and I said, hey man, did you ever finish writing that book? He said, oh man, I got this manuscript. I said, stop now. Come over to my house right now. We're gonna
Wow.
get this done.
Hmm.
And he brought his manuscript and I looked it over. And at that time I told my client, I don't, read your book. I look at the structure of it. And I went through and I gave him a new title for his book because the title that he had didn't speak to what it was.
Hmm.
The short story is we got somebody on the phone that he knew, and he was able to sell 300 copies of his first book before it was finished.
Wow. Mm.
This is mind-boggling, I know, to a lot of people, but I've been able to do this and help people. The point that I'm making in sharing this is that we were able to close the time gap. The time
Mm.
gap collapsed because I was somebody who had a system at that time. I knew a system to take him from concept to creation, to take him from manuscript to manifestation.
Mm.
As fast as that happened, which was about 90 minutes,
Hmm.
the system that you've put in place, man, is absolutely astounding.
Mm.
We've
Mm.
already taken these videos, cut them up into pieces, circulating it on social media, already starting to get a great response. Are people actually typing in comments and things as well?
So mostly it's likes. We got a couple comments, but
Hmm.
views and likes and followers, which
Yeah.
is cool. Um, just in the space of what, 2 weeks, like end of last year or something like that. I think we posted the first one 2 weeks ago. We started recording
Yeah.
earlier. So just to see how, so results require toughness. Here's what I mean by that. So follow me in the logical sequence.
Hmm.
Practical results require consistent execution.
Hmm.
Consistency requires discipline,
Right.
right? And discipline requires toughness. Here's why. In order to execute consistency with discipline, it means you're going to encounter adversity. It means you're going to encounter discomfort. It means you're going to encounter challenge. And there's going to need to be a conscious decision to execute regardless of the circumstances. It's going to require tenacity, creativity, and toughness. And so, initially, and I've just encountered this recently, I'm consulting with a gentleman. He wants to, like you, he's written his book, kind of like your experience, but he's written the book and he wants to get it out there. And he says, Anthony, I want to build this mechanism that's going to sell this for me so that I can make money while I sleep. Okay, great.
Yes.
And so we go through and we start by designing his day for effectiveness so that
Mm,
he can execute consistently, so he can create space in time and in a physical location to work on the business, building the process so that he can get the results, so he can automate the consistent effort needed to scale his resources. The challenge, he comes to me and he says, you know, I'm experiencing all these obstacles. Well, that's part of the problem solving process, part of the discipline of executing consistently. That's
hmm.
part of success, is those challenges or obstacles you solve for in your own individual life. And I'm excited that giving him this framework, start with your morning, something you and I talked about. Pour
Hmm.
into you, structure your day for working on the business and working in the business. Find your stability number, find your product, your market, execute, create your sales process, create your marketing and advertising. This systematic process, because it's a system we're using right now. It's a system that's built on principles. It it seems easy, it seems fast because it's effective. And so I think, to your point, when you were able to sit down with that gentleman and give him these instructions, it's a proven system that you had used and the principles were there. And I'm excited about what we're doing. You and I have talked about it at length. And I think our sort of pivot is to give the people the principles that we're using. And I'm super excited that people actually are, they're watching it, they're sharing it, it's resonating, and it's validating to me as someone who, is usually behind the computer and doesn't talk.
Well, man, I don't want to gloss over something that you
Excuse me.
said that was very, very important when you talked about working on the business versus working in the business. When you write a book or create a product, when you get those first couple of orders and everything, it's exciting and you're packing it up, you're shipping it out and everything. But let me tell you, when things start rolling, it's exciting to get the orders, but it's not exciting packaging them. I used to wonder when I was a kid, man, why do they charge, this is years ago, 14.99 for shipping and handling? What's handling? Man, let you start getting some orders for your products. You're gonna find out real quick what shipping and handling is.
Right.
It's very real, and it takes time to put those things together. Nobody gets into business to do that. There are
Mm,
people who unless it's a fulfillment company that specializes in that.
correct.
But I learned very, very quickly, man, I don't want to sit around, packaging up books and sending stuff out all the time. I need a system in place. The
Mm,
difference of working on the business rather than in the business is you take the time to develop those systems so that you can do what you do best and let other people do what they do best.
mm,
Other people
mm,
may do marketing better, distribution better, or fulfillment better. You may be the writer, you may be the speaker, right?
mm-hmm,
You may be the content creator. And
mm-hmm.
so you want to operate in the area of your gifts. But when I was first starting out, man, I was everything, brother. And that can be absolutely exhausting. And that's where most entrepreneurs burn out.
Yep.
So that's why this system that you've developed is just phenomenal, man. And when you talked about being consistent and taking action, I need for everybody to know once you make that decision, all hell is going to break loose because you made a decision to take action. You
Mm-hmm.
have to be, you have to have laser-like precision in terms of taking action and not being distracted because all sorts of things will happen, but you got to get that momentum going, you know?
Yeah, I think the challenge of focus, or rather, leading a disciplined and focused life,
Hmm.
provides it provides clarity,
Yes.
and clarity creates obstacles.
Hmm.
So, for instance, if you're walking through a forest and you decide you're going to walk in a straight line, guess what? You're going to hit a lot more trees than if you deviate, right?
Mm.
And so, most people, when they're they, their path is chosen for them, and it's a broad way. Hey, I'm going to go to college, I'm going to get a degree, I'm going to go work for this company, and they're going to worry about the security, they're going to worry about the product, they're going to worry about the process, they're going to give me everything, all I have to do is show up. When you're creating that path for yourself, your path from where you are to your objective, there are going to be obstacles. There's going to be rough roads. There's going to be some trees there, and depending on the length of your journey, and the height of your objective, you might have to go through a mountain, just like when you're laying track for a train. So, based on your unique path, you're. I was talking to a client, and I told him he's had huge success this year. He's been on the red carpet. Um, he's done some events for YouTube, et cetera, et cetera. And last year, he did not have this success. He threw his first event. It did not go well at all. He had invested resources. And he said, "You know what, Anthony, I'm not sure. I expected more out of this." I said, "You don't know what success is supposed to look like for you yet because you haven't been there.
Hmm.
This isn't the end of your path. This year had the biggest year he's ever had in 2025. 2024 is when we had the first conversation. The point of me saying that is this: we've been trained the majority of our lives along a particular path, and now we're looking to acquire the skills, or become the person that can do what we were gifted to do.
Mm.
When we're making that choice as humans, as entrepreneurs, we're seeking a clear path. We're seeking that process, or that next step, that path that will transition us from where we are to where we want to be. What we've done here is we've codified that and based it on principles that everybody can identify and associate with, right?
Hmm.
For instance, we call it there's something called the Pareto principle. So 80% of your results come from 20% of your effort. Part of what we do is we identify those behaviors and automate a lot of that.
Yeah.
If you make 100 phone calls, you send 100 emails, you run 20 calls, you closed half of them, you're going to hit your numbers every month. So, how do we automate a lot of that? How do we guarantee that those behaviors are going to be executed consistently and at a high level to get you to where you need to be? That's your success insurance. That's guaranteeing that that's part of the process you don't have to worry about. Kind of like shipping your books. You've gotten on stage, you've made the pitch, you've given the offer, and people have purchased. All you have to do is guarantee that they actually get it to their home in a timely manner. So,
Hmm.
how do you automate that piece? That's your success insurance. That's one thing you can sleep at night and not have to worry about. So, when you and I are talking about processes, when we're talking about systems, the proof is in the pudding. The response we're seeing on social media, the engagement we're seeing in our own respective businesses, and the process that brought us together in the first place. And the cool thing is, we actually get to do something I probably wouldn't have done on my own, is share it with people and just see how it can resonate with them and benefit them.
Yeah, and I want to share something with everybody that's listening too. When you talked about obstacles, man, I ran across something that it was a game changer for me in terms of a mental shift because when obstacles would come my way, I would start
Mm,
kind of having these little, mental and spiritual temper tantrums like, okay, God, I'm trying to do your will. I'm trying to do the work that you've called me to do. Why does this stuff keep happening?
Mm,
And I ran across this Zen proverb that says, obstacles do not block the way, obstacles are the way.
mm,
Obstacles do
wow.
not block the path. The obstacle is the path,
Mm,
meaning that you learn how to navigate these things and you increase your mental and emotional muscle and you develop more skills to solve more problems. And you
mhm,
become more fortified in your ability to meet the moment, whatever
mm,
moment comes up.
yeah.
So it's really about learning how to flow with whatever happens, with whatever is coming at you, so that you can still move forward regardless of what may be going on in the world of appearances.
Yeah. And I love that because it dovetails perfectly with the perspective um that I've sort of that the Lord has helped me evolve over time, which is processes provide clarity and they provide an objective standard to measure your experience.
Hmm.
Here's what I mean. Um,
That
when
was a
you're
text from you. Now, wait a minute. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to break your train of thought, but if everybody heard that little signal on my phone, that was an automated text from you for the Buying Time Blueprint workshop session that's coming on later tonight.
there you
So this
go.
dude, here we are recording this, and this dude has already set, automatic reminders to be texted to me. It's stuff like that. Success is a system, y'all. When you have systems in place that can make these things happen automatically. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to
No,
interrupt you,
no,
but
it's
it's a
perfect.
perfect example of what we're talking about.
No, it's perfect, GK, because here's the thing. And I love that you mentioned that. I'm glad that fired and everything's working perfectly. That's you can't make that stuff up. Um, but I think the beauty of it is we sometimes think, for me, when I'm having those temper tantrums, when you know, I'm on the bike, I'm in the gym, and I'm hearing from, I'm hearing these challenges, or I'm hearing from God, and I'm experiencing these challenges. And I'm like, hey, is I'm doing everything I could possibly do,
Hmm.
or am I doing everything I can possibly do when I can check my roadmap, when I can check my activity, when I can check the box and know I'm doing absolutely everything I can and am supposed to do, then I can say, okay, this is just part of the becoming.
Hmm.
This is the character building element that's required for me to be the person that can do the thing that can get me the results that are required. It's kind of like that workout plan.
Hmm.
If I know today I got to do 15 minutes on that horrible bike, or 30 minutes or an hour, and then I've got to lift weights and I've got to do this many sets and reps, and then I've got to hit the cold plunge, then regardless of how I feel, I know that this process, this framework, is objective and it will definitely get me there, regardless of whether or not I feel like doing it. So,
Yeah.
as long as my execution meets the standard, my results are guaranteed. And for me, that process is what helps me do the doing, helps me execute.
I'm smiling, brother, because I got a cold plunge waiting for me, man.
Oh wow.
We
Oh,
had to fill up our bathtubs because we had inclement weather here, and I forgot why they said to fill up your bathtub. I think if something happens with the
the
plumbing,
pipes.
pipes
Yeah.
freeze and so forth, so we filled it up. And my wife was going to let it out because the weather's passing. No, don't let it out. It's nice and cold. So tomorrow I'm gonna do a plunge. So cold plunges are no joke, but got to do it, man.
Good for you.
Got to do it. Reduce that inflammation, right? And
Yeah, no
I
doubt.
do it. Watch this, because I don't want to.
Mm.
But
Yep,
that's what's building the mental and emotional muscle. And any hardcore entrepreneurs out there know what I'm talking about because there are going to be a lot of things that you do that you don't want to do. But I do what I don't want to do so that later I can do exactly what I want to do.
absolutely. I think you hit the nail on the head with that one, Chike. So I think moving forward, the conversation you and I have had, um, constantly evolving, constantly trying to develop and provide as much value as possible and be transparent throughout this process. We may look back on this and say it was a no brainer or laugh or say it was a bad idea, but I think switching gears and really just kind of diving a little deeper, going through those processes, giving the other fixes, the actual blueprint that
Mm.
we're following, rather than just answering the questions. Let's give the blueprint, let's show you what we're doing. Let's chart our progress and our results and be very transparent about our process. And we'll let the people decide.
Yeah, man. And this has been great. And it's always great talking with you. And for those that are watching right now, you get the opportunity to listen to two guys talk through some of the challenges of
Mm,
entrepreneurship. And as we begin to close, I'm just reminded of an African proverb that says, if you dream of moving mountains tomorrow, you must begin by moving small stones today.
mm,
One more time. If you dream of moving mountains tomorrow, you must
mm,
begin by moving small stones today. And so
mm.
we're just moving small stones here, just talking about some of the challenges that entrepreneurs go through and the fact that success is a system and how we set these systems up, working on the business and not in the business. But listen, if any of this is resonating with you all, listen, stay tuned. We just getting started and watch this. I'm sure you know somebody else who needs to hear this, right? So listen, hit the like button, click the notification bell so that you can find out whenever these videos are dropping, and please share it on all your social media platforms with those that you think can benefit from it. But Brother Anthony, it's always a blessing talking with you, brother, and just chopping it up. Hey, I
Absolutely.
can't wait till the next time.
Absolutely. Until next time, I'm Anthony Boyce.
And I'm Dr. Chike Akua, so join us on the Buying Time Blueprint podcast.
See you later.
Peace.